welcome to the Raising Killen podcast. My name is Marsha Naidu and I blog at raisingkillen.org, where we curate resources for families experiencing disabilities. Today, we have a special edition on episode 173. I am chatting with Miss Naomi King, who is 92 years old and has been voting since 1954. In addition, I am joined by my dear friend Rachel Townsend, who used to be the editor at a local newspaper. We cover a gambit of topics ranging all the way from Miss Naomi's time in Decatur County till when she moved to Dyer County when she was 14 years old.
Miss Naomi, I listened to you talk about maybe a month ago, and you were describing to us your first experience voting, and that was such a powerful recount. Would you mind sharing with us that story?
Okay. My first time to visit the polling station was up at Millsfield we did it in the grocery store.
Locks
grocery store. But anyway, that's where my polling station was at that time. So there was a man running for office, and I may not have their names right, but I know one of them's name was Osmond. He was running for some kind of office. So we were in the cotton field, and after, I guess it must have been after 62, when Dr. Martin Luther King first started the integration movement, or the desegregation, or whichever one it was,
Yes.
His movement. And so everybody was encouraged to vote. So this man, Mr. Osmond, came and picked us up in the cotton field. We were in the cotton field, picking cotton, working. So we went up there and voted, and registered to vote. That's where we went to register to vote. And I voted then. I started voting then. It was 1958.
Miss Naomi, have you always voted, or?
Ever since. I have not missed a time voting until a few years ago. You might remember the year that we were offered to vote in the election, and at that time they moved my precinct from Millsfield to the fairgrounds. And then the president passed some kind of order that we had to show our identification. I was 80-something, and I couldn't remember. I put my voting card down and couldn't remember where I put it. And I couldn't vote because I couldn't find my voter's card. But after I got settled down, my mind settled down a little bit, then I found my voting card. But in the meantime, I ordered another voting card, but I kept the old voting card that I had.
How did everybody stay informed about the campaigns back then? Like, how did you guys stay informed as to the candidate positions and just what was going on in the community politically at the time?
Because there was a guy named Bill Thomas.
Mm-hmm.
Bill Thomas and a retired teacher. Can't even think of her name now. But anyway, they were some kind of commissioners, So they would have these town hall meetings through the NAACP, and I joined the NAACP. I became a member of the NAACP, and Bill Thomas would always keep us informed through these meetings that the NAACP would have. Yeah.
Miss Naomi, a lot of people would want to know your history and how you came to Dyer County. So, for folks listening, can you please tell us a little bit about yourself and how you came to be in Dyer County?
Okay. I moved to Dyer County when I was 14 years old. I lived with my grandmother and my grandfather, and we moved on the Thomas Walker farm. He raised strawberries and he had a peach orchard, peach and an apple orchard on the Upper Finley Road. We moved in the house that he owned on his farm. And there we just pick cotton, chop cotton, pick cotton for people that would hire us as day labor folks, you know. Mm-hmm. My grandmother and my grandfather was getting up in age, so they managed to get on welfare to support them. And they didn't give me anything for them supporting me, sending me to school and all. They had to do it with what little money that they made. And I was old enough to pull tomato slips and bundle them up as day labor. And then we cut spinach as day labor. This was when I was after I was 14 years old, 15, maybe 16, because I worked doing that. And then I got a job working for a lady that housed older people in her home, Mrs. Donovan. I don't remember her first name, but her name was Mrs. Donovan. She also lived off of the Upper Finley Road, up in that neighborhood behind where Three Oaks School is now. Okay, I would walk from my house to her house to clean the house for her in the afternoon when I would get out of school. I did that up until I was maybe after I was 16 years old, because I also, when my mother had a child after she got married, she got married when I was about 13 years old, and she started a family in Missouri with her husband. His name was John Wesley Curry, and I would go and stay at her house and help to take care of her while she had a baby.
Was this her second marriage?
She was married when I was born.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm the results of a white man raping my mother when she was 14 years old. You want the truth? That's the truth.
Yes, ma'am.
How big was your family, Miss Naomi? Like when you came here to stay, like how many people were in your family at the time?
Just my grandmother, me, and my granddaddy.
Like what did your everyday look like? Because you had school and you had work every day. So like when you were doing field work and stuff, like what time did you go to school and come home, and then how long were you out in the fields every day?
I walked to school from at first in the morning. Mr. Walker allowed my mother to have a cow to get milk, mm-hmm. and so I would have to go down in the pasture and drive that cow up to the barn, with the fence around it, so that when my grandmother got ready to milk the cow, she could milk the cow. Mm-hmm. And feed the cow and then let it back out in the pasture. That was my daily chores. And then after I did all of that and ate breakfast, because my grandmother raised chickens and they laid eggs and we had eggs, and then she managed to get a little, I guess, buy some bacon or sausage or something, because that's what I grew up on. And up in Decatur County, they had hogs. My grandmother raised a hog and had a cow, and So she just continued to do that after we moved to Dyer County. And then after, when I would walk to school and then walk back home, and then I would just hang around the house, until time to go. And or it wasn't every day that I went to help clean up that Donovan woman's house. It was just when she needed me to. And we communicated with Mrs. Donovan because of the woman that ran a grocery store on 4th Street, that little White House where they turned into a bus
stop, right?
Yeah. Miss, I can't think of her name now, but she had a sister, and her husband would always sit behind the counter over there at the grocery store. But I just helped my grandmother, she sewed and pieced quilts and did all that kind of stuff and taught me how to do it. And I ended up doing it after I got married. Because after my grandmother and my granddaddy was unable to do day work for Mr. Walker, Thomas Walker, and his kids grew up and graduated and moved to Memphis and started their jobs, and then he let the business go raising strawberries because mostly everybody that ever worked on the place, because there were other black people on that farm that worked, lived in houses that he owned and worked for him. After all of that come down, then my grandmother and my granddaddy moved off of his farm when they couldn't produce, couldn't work for him anymore, because he didn't have anything for them to do. So they moved off of that farm into a house that my cousin and her husband had bought on Bowen Lane. And so therefore, that's where my grandmother and my granddaddy moved to by the time I had graduated from the 8th grade. I graduated from the 8th grade.
So, but you didn't move to Dyersburg until you were 14? Yeah, okay. So that was in Decatur County?
Yes, that was in Decatur County.
Okay.
But getting back to my life in Dyer County, after I graduated from the 8th grade to the 9th grade, I took that achievement test. They called it an achievement test. And Mr. Barbie, Professor Barbie, was the teacher out at the Hopewell School. They actually had a building. They built a building for the school. And Miss Mary Robinson taught at that school. And I don't know who else, but anyway, Mr. Barbie gave us that achievement test. And I passed it, and that's when I started 9th grade at in the Bruce area. Bruce building, and M.L. Morrison was the teacher down there, the principal.
Yes, Principal Morrison was there for a long time, wasn't he?
Was.
Yeah.
When I got married, I was in the 10th grade.
I heard he was no nonsense, that he was
right.
He would get you.
Right. He was the principal. He taught biology first class after lunch. He was the drum major, the band leader, and I don't know what else he was. I had a video of him, and he was telling how it was when we had no water, no indoor toilet. He said he met with the county school meeting, and he told them, he said, y'all got these black girls coming to your home cooking and your meals for the evening meal. He said, and they hadn't washed their hands because we had no water, no indoor toilet. He said the next day they come down there and started erecting a building for a toilet and place, to wash your hands and everything.
Right. So they had it in the white neighborhoods. They just didn't have it across the tracks in Bruce. Yeah.
Yeah.
Miss Naomi, you were born now. Your date of birth is, tell us your date of birth.
Oh, November the 10th, 1933.
November the 10th, 1933. Ma'am, I know you have seen so many changes.
Right.
Are there any points in history that really stand out in your mind that you would like to share with us?
Back in the 50s, because I think I had my last child, my third child, she was born in 1955. So from 55 on, we began to take our children to the different places. So one Sunday afternoon, we wanted to carry them and eat some ice cream, my husband and me. So at that time, we were still living on the Hamer farm, and we were sharecropping. So we went to Dairy Queen, and I went to the first window, of the Dairy Queen when it was out on 51. And I was told that we had to go to the back window to order some ice cream. And I refused. I refused. I would not take my children to no back. That was during the time when Woolworth refused those 4 boys in, what was it, South Carolina or North Carolina, in one of the Carolinas. And they sat at that Woolworth store, ordered.
The Woolworth store.
It's Woolworth, where they ordered, the place to order, and they were told that we don't serve Negroes here. And they sat there, I guess, until they give up and serve them. I don't know, but it was all in Black history on the television and everything.
What were the dynamics in Dyersburg like with segregation and desegregation? Like, what was your experience with that here in our community?
When we went to the theater, we had to go upstairs and to watch a movie. And the whites went downstairs. But I knew one guy that was Black, but he looked like he was white. And he would go in with the white children. So he finally moved away.
So I guess with us being in West Tennessee and we're an agriculture hub, what did that look like out in the fields? I mean, was it Black folks and white folks? Was it?
Yeah.
I mean, is everybody thrown in together?
Yeah, the white people were picking cotton or pulling cotton or whatever, But there was a man named William Johnson that was a veteran. He had been in service. When he got out of service, he bought him a truck and he hauled they call them black hands, to the cotton patches or wherever there was work to be done in the fields. He would haul us there and we would pick cotton. That's how we paid for the little land tract that we have. We bought it for $1,200, and we made a loan at First Citizens in it was after I married. I married in 51, so I guess it was 1952 or 53. We bought a little tract of land right there on the highway, Millsville Highway. We and my dad-in-law built that little barbecue building, little restaurant like, we bought that for $1,200, and we had 3 years to pay it off. And my husband and I, when we got through picking cotton on the Hamer farm, I got all the cotton picked on the Hamer farm, then we were free to go anywhere we wanted to go and do pick cotton and pull cotton. And we rode the truck, and this was cold in like November, and we almost had to wear gloves after you pick cotton, and then they would start the pulling cotton season, and you just pull the bows, half open bows, and we saved the money that we got from pulling the cotton and paying, and then we made those 3 payments and $400 for 3 years. I don't think it was any interest added in back then, but Mr. Lipford was the president of the bank, and
He's a good guy.
yeah, and he was a friend to Mr. Hamer, and then Mr. Hamer was on the board of directors down there, so we didn't have any trouble borrowing the money to pay for that land. So I established my credit at First Citizens. That's where I opened my checking account, and I've been with First Citizen ever since then.
Miss Naomi, our young people are very important, right?
Yes.
That's our future. What message would you have for the young people listening today?
Whatever county you were born in, you have a patriot opportunity and a right to vote. That's something that you have that just is automatically your right. And anything that you have a birth right to do, you need to do it. And if it comes to casting your vote for someone who's going to be representing you in an office, makes no difference how high the office goes, I think you should vote.
I tell people that all the time because you see more people put emphasis on national elections rather than local elections. And what's happening nationally is really important, but it's even more important to look at what's happening in your backyard and make changes where you live too. So,
right.
Yeah.
Especially the state that you live in.
Yes.
Because the state will represent you on the national level. You can't have a say in what's happening on the national level without going through the state first.
That's right. It's an echo effect.
Yeah. So I would tell them to, make sure you vote, register to vote. If you move out of Tennessee into Illinois, then you go and register to vote in the Illinois elections.
Miss Naomi, thank you so much for your time and sharing your history. I can't think of a better way to end off, Rachel. So we are going to say thank you. Thank you for sharing your story with us.
You're perfectly welcome.
And God bless you. And thank you so much.
Yeah. I would like to just say before I get off that when the great-grandboys grew up and they graduated from high school, that was the next thing that we did. We went downtown to the registration office and they signed up.
I made my kids do the exact same thing. As soon as they turned 18, you better go down there and get your voter registration.
Right. Yeah.
Well,
Thank you, Miss Naomi.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you for listening along on the podcast today as we have been motivated and inspired by Miss Naomi. It is that civic responsibility and patriotic responsibility to get out and vote. Today's date is August the 2nd, 2026 early voting completed yesterday, and we had over 3,080 people who appeared at the polls and cast their ballot. The actual election is going to be on August the 6th, which is next Thursday. So let's get out and do our civic duty and look forward to connecting with others in our area about their voting stories. I would love to know more, especially from our elders, and would love to hear their wisdom. Thank you for listening along on the podcast. And as always, remember, get to the top of your mountain. This is Marsh Naidu signing off.